I touched on this a little bit in my previous video about Battlefield and Black Ops 7, but I find it funny how Call of Duty fanboys are so desperate for a new game and they're so eager to dump on Call of Duty. I mean, just look at the YouTube reception to the Black Ops 7 trailers. My goodness, yikes. But even though they're so desperate for a new game and they're so angry with their own game, they're also simultaneously desperate for every COD competitor to be exactly like Call of Duty in every way. I remember back when XDefiant first came out, a bunch of Call of Duty influencers and COD players in general were saying that XDefiant was bad because it didn't have kill streaks and the movement wasn't identical to Call of Duty, because an arcade respawn-based first-person shooter just isn't enough. It literally has to be exactly like Call of Duty, but also we're desperate for anything other than Call of Duty. I just find that entertaining, but that dynamic seemed to rear its ugly head again the other day, because following the second beta for Battlefield 6, the team put out an announcement that they are going to be nerfing the movement going forward after seeing a lot of people abusing the sliding and jumping in the beta. Quote, movement mechanics have been adjusted to create a more balanced and traditional Battlefield experience. Momentum, especially horizontal speed, carried from a slide into a jump has been reduced. There is now a greater penalty for consecutive jumps, which lowers jump height when jumps are spammed. Firing while sliding or jumping will result in increased inaccuracy, which is an odd way to say reduced accuracy. These changes are designed to make sliding and jumping more situational, so they are no longer ideal options for engaging in gunfights, and will contribute to a gameplay pace that rewards skillful movement without becoming too fast or unpredictable. And this is no doubt coming in response to clips like this, where it's literally just Call of Duty in the Battlefield engine, which is not what you want a Battlefield game to play like. And like, look, I like movement shooters. I like shooters with really fast, demanding movements and a lot of inputs per second. I like those kinds of games, but I don't want them in every kind of game, nor does every game have to accommodate that kind of play style. Some games just aren't designed to be played that way. Counter-Strike immediately jumps to mind. Nobody is asking for Counter-Strike to have more advanced movement options. Nobody is asking for slide canceling to be introduced to Valorant or Rainbow Six. That's just not the kind of game it is. And Battlefield is the same way. This game is about positioning. It's about awareness. It's about map knowledge. And it's also about aiming and shooting. It's not about flying around the map and jumping and diving around every corner. Battlefield is a unique experience. The franchise has always been a unique experience because it's about the large-scale, more grounded warfare. There are moments in Battlefield, we used to call them battlefield moments, things that you couldn't get in any other franchise. And while I can totally understand the developers wanting to add more movement mechanics to the game just to make it feel more modern, I can also totally understand them wanting to ease back the exploits now that they've been discovered. Because on one hand, there are games where movement exploits kind of serve to increase the skill gap and really fit with the tone of the game. Apex Legends comes to mind. Tons of core mechanics in Apex Legends were initially discovered as movement exploits. They weren't put there on purpose. The developers didn't intend for you to move that way, but once it was discovered that you could, it increased the skill gap and still fit with the way the game was meant to be played. But stuff like this does not fit with the way Battlefield is meant to be played. So they're getting rid of it. Like many of us have said, Battlefield is at its best when it's not trying to be Call of Duty. And as many legitimate criticisms that people have of Battlefield 6 in regards to it trying to be more like Call of Duty, especially like in the map design, and I can totally hear those, I do at least take some solace in the fact that they're reducing the movement mechanics and doing something about the movement exploits to make sure the moment-to-moment gameplay does not feel so much like Call of Duty. If you wanted that kind of game, you already have that kind of game. But my goodness, this post from Charlie Intel, which is a Call of Duty focused news outlet, can you imagine, dear viewer, that a lot of the Call of Duty fans are fucking livid about this? Which goes back to my initial point. Why are you people so eager to leave Call of Duty, but then you get mad when other games aren't exactly like Call of Duty? You already have Call of Duty. Why do you need Battlefield as well? Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the Battlefield downfall kind of start with them trying to be like Call of Duty? Hey, you big doofus, do you want to learn to code but you haven't done it because coding is scary and there's lots of big numbers and words on it that are scary? Well, then this video's sponsor is for you. This video is sponsored by boot.dev, which is basically, from my experience, the Mavis Beacon teaches typing of learning to code. I don't think many of you are going to get that. SpongeBob teaches typing, but for learning to code. It's an online program that is absolutely jam-packed with different activities, with different courses for different languages, and it's specifically designed to deal with the fact that learning to code is really flipping hard and really flipping overwhelming when you're starting from zero. It also has a personal AI tutor named Boots, who's a flippin' bear wizard that'll keep you going and make sure you don't get stuck, but also not just feed you answers. All of boot.dev's content is free to read and to watch in guest mode, and there's a lot of different options for paid memberships that are, in my opinion, very reasonably priced. But if you want to try it out first, there's a free demo, there's 30 days, no question asked refunds, and the whole thing is gamified with like XP and levels and achievements to keep you going. It's like, I changed my mind. It's not like SpongeBob teaches typing, it's like SpongeBob teaches Duolingo typing for learning to code. So if you want to learn to code, if you know a little bit of coding but you want to like get better at it, I absolutely suggest giving boot.dev a try, and you can use code JOE for 25% off your entire first year if you sign up for an annual plan. Yes, code JOE, J-O-E, for 25% off the entire first year. So check the top of the video description down below if you want to give boot.dev a try. I've personally used it, I highly recommend it, definitely give it a shot. If nothing else, it's free to try. Huge thanks to boot.dev for sponsoring the video, and let's get back into the nonsense we were talking about before. Well, I just want to look through some of my favorite responses to this Charlie Intel tweet. Because my goodness, the COD fanboys are mad, and frankly, good riddance. The modern COD playstyle is just fucking cancer. There's a reason why so many people like me get annoyed with Call of Duty now, because we grew up playing Call of Duty when it looked like this. When it was simple, when it was basically the same core philosophy as Battlefield, but with a different philosophy in the map design and the game pace. It was a game about positioning, map knowledge, aiming, and shooting. That's just not what Call of Duty is anymore. And that's fine if that's not what Call of Duty is anymore. I'm not even saying you can't like modern Call of Duty, but you also have to acknowledge the fact that a lot of people left Call of Duty when that's what it stopped being, and Battlefield, traditionally, is closer to what Call of Duty used to be. If you're expecting us to cater to your play style, I'm gonna ask you kindly to fuck yourself, because you already pushed me away from one franchise. You can have that one. I've come to terms with that. Stay the fuck off of Battlefield now, please. Okay, let's read some of these because they're hilarious. Illogical says everything in red is unnecessary. So it's unnecessary to add a greater penalty for consecutive jumps. It's unnecessary for your gunshots to be inaccurate while jumping and sliding. And it's unnecessary to make sliding and jumping more situational instead of being the meta in what is supposed to be a realistic military shooter. Let's just really think about that. It's unnecessary to make sliding and jumping more situational in what is supposed to be a more realistic military shooter. The modern COD base, everyone. Because aside from this just being stupid on its face, I also just have to say, it's not your game. You didn't design it. You don't have to like it. It doesn't have to cater to you. It's not designed for you, and that's okay. Games don't have to be for everyone. A game for everyone is a game for no one. And again, as many legitimate criticisms as there are for Battlefield 6, I appreciate them not just letting the COD kids have it. I appreciate them sticking to their guns, so to speak, on what they want this game to be. And if you don't want the game to be this way, you already have one. God, it's like Call of Duty fanboys. They refuse to leave Call of Duty, but they're also desperate to leave Call of Duty. But even though they're desperate to leave Call of Duty, they still want every game to be exactly like Call of Duty. It's like, fucking play a different game. Oh my god. Unkworks says, not the old EA bait and switch, lol. Yeah, apparently it's a bait and switch to patch out movement exploits after they're discovered. Apparently it's a bait and switch to say, hey, we're making a game that has this kind of tone and this kind of gameplay. and then people discover ways to play the game in a way that contradicts that design, and then for the developers to be like, okay, we're making some adjustments to make sure the game plays the way that we said it was going to be when we announced it. Apparently that's a bait and switch. Making adjustments to a game to make it more in line with the game that was promised, that's a bait and switch now. What has COD done to you? Shocky Milk says next they are going to make it so you miss shots even if you're on target, just so the drones can have a chance. Right, no, because all of this is being done for the sake of the drones, the bad players. They're nerfing movement because the players that don't use movement are just bad. It's not because it's a complete clash with the pace of the game that they're trying to make. Again, I bring up Counter-Strike. No one says Counter-Strike is full of drones and bad players because there's not movement exploits. Like, nobody makes that argument. Why are you making it here? Why is patching movement exploits only possibly being done as a way to make the game easier? If anything, I think this actually makes the game more skill-based, because you can't just spam movement exploits to get out of sticky situations. You have to actually think about not putting yourself in sticky situations. Anyone can spam slides and dives and get a lucky shot. Not as many people can take a simpler movement system and play consistently well with it. And that's not me saying modern COD takes no skill or faster movement games take no skill. Of course those take skill, but it's a different kind of skill. And I fail to see the problem with the Battlefield devs leaning in to the design that Battlefield players have been asking for. Side Sama says those devs are shooting themselves in the foot. I love this argument, by the way, because it implies that the super hardcore, like, movement king segment of the Call of Duty audience is, like, the primary audience, which is obviously not true. Like, really think about this. Call of Duty is still a vastly majority, like, casual game, a casual shooter with casual players. And the movement kings always say that skill-based, if you don't like skill-based matchmaking, get out of the game. Well, skill-based matchmaking was only put in there because of all the casuals. The skill-based matchmaking was only put in there and remains in there because you are a minority. You as a movement player in Call of Duty are a minority. But now, that minority not getting exactly what they want from a different game is that different game shooting itself in the foot, even though this change does not affect the vast majority of the people who would be playing the game. Am I getting too high concept for you? Your opinion doesn't fucking matter is what I'm saying. X Sinistar says, I mean, if it's slow movement, then how will there be catching people off guard? Not a good look so far. Keep the movement where it is for situation gameplay. No slow lane movement. How will you catch people off guard without movement exploits? I don't know, learn the map and then catch people off guard. This was never a problem before, even in Call of Duty. When has catching people off guard ever been a problem in Call of Duty, even before there were like slide cancels and tac sprint and stuff? I used to play Call of Duty 4. Flanking was a completely viable strategy. There was nothing stopping you from doing that. And in Battlefield, once again, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. You just can't do it with slide spam and dive spam. I fail to see how this is a problem. It kind of sounds to me like you just don't want to learn maps. And that's fine. Again, if you don't want this kind of game, that's fine. It's not for you. But it also doesn't have to be for you. Go play yours. Like, what's the issue? Fear Me says, what's the point of having 120 FPS when you move 2 mph speed? Again, no one says this about Counter-Strike. No one says this about Valorant. No one says this about Rainbow Six Siege. Why does it apply here? Why would you play Counter-Strike at 240 FPS? I mean, you're just walking. What's the point? There's no possible way that having a high frame rate in a first-person shooter could benefit you regardless of movement speed. I'm begging you to play other FPS games. Xseed says old heads keep complaining because they can't hang Limfao. People like this, I would love to see do some kind of aim trainer. I would love to see you guys just like keep your left hand off of your keyboard and then just use your right hand on your mouse, aim and shoot. I just want to see if you can actually aim and shoot in a first-person shooter game. I just want to see if you can actually rely on your ability to aim and shoot without spamming movement. One more, because my voice hurts and I have to go somewhere. Leo Season says, abuse slide and jump mechanics. So apparently sliding and jumping, that was literally an intended feature in the game, is apparently abusing. Lamau, you fuckers are so fucking cringe. Milsim, 40-year-old granddads that cry about everything in gaming are ruining the fun of modern FPS. This is another thing that I love when COD fanboys do. It's like, you're ruining the game by not liking the game the way it is. Meanwhile, the game the way it is bleeding players. It's like, I wonder who's actually doing that. I wonder who that sign is for. But the thing is, sliding and jumping are intended features. Yeah, movement exploits were not. So they're fixing it. You doofus. Like, I think the devs would know what was intended and what wasn't. And also add this to the long list of things no one would say about Counter-Strike. No one would say that Counter-Strike is cringe because it doesn't have a bunch of weird movement exploits. And it's not that kind of game. Okay, why does this have to be that kind of game? I say it again, you already have yours. Why do you need this one too? It's so funny. Like, why do you guys care so goddamn much? Like, why are you so allergic to playing a different kind of game, but also you're so desperate to play a different kind of game? You're so desperate to not play Call of Duty anymore, and yet you won't play this game unless it's exactly like Call of Duty. You did this with X Defiant. You did this with Apex. Why are you doing it again now? It's so annoying. God bless the Battlefield devs for sticking to their guns. Lol, again, I said it again. I know there's plenty of real criticisms to be made, and I'm interested to see how the final product turns out. But oh my goodness, as long as the COD movement kings, as they like to call themselves, as long as those guys are over on Black Ops 7, I think we have a good year ahead of us, a decent year ahead of us. I think it's good to see that the Battlefield devs are actually seemingly listening to feedback. That's a good thing. Okay, Doofus Club time. Pro for the Rat King, freshly milked man nut in your butt, no motorcycle yet. Got my first car, Devastator 2000, Seven Christensen, Jake Spider Monkey 1994, hashtag BanJTechTV, Gar Secret Horse Son, Colonel Doofus, F. Quapala, Showbiz NCNA, Chris Void, Vast Dennis, Joe found there is a second mode, come join me, hashtag BanJTechTV. Gaming with Dead People, Basket 101, Vendetta Audrey, Max Killer V2 Gaming, Silver Rock, Muskie, Kyle Ward 789, Big Fudge, Break, Hard Meat, Brandy got black by Tyrone, Big Ups, Liquid Richard Wings. Ooh, Klepto Penguin, the Judge 06, Moltheme, the Beastums, Evanco, Really Zerd, Oracle, the Return of the King Boys, Upside Down, Pedro Pascal's Left Hand, Nate, Blast 1314, Jimmy Chops, I'm married to PC Gamer, apologize to your wife, Joe, Master Killer, Firestorm 2056, Demetrius Papagiorno, Tom Snorlax, and the last one is Mid, Gun Nodes 1867, 18, Kev Dog 1992, Zombie Killer 5072, Official Drags, Hey Yo, Captain Jack, Bring Me Back to the Railroad Track, Epion 504, Grimsy, Ed Shadow Bear 1789, Krizko, Unicorn Rocker, Benefondu, I live in DSP's walls, I'm stealing his forks, I just can't do it, I can't take this shit, no man, more man, Wings, T-Train, Rising Earth, Sense Kage, Non-For Law, I lied, didn't change for him. Didn't forget that I changed my name. Partial main 8, Volksauto, Codman 43722X. A new stupid name for Joe to read out loud for everyone to see. Alderotho 1, Doug Niggsy Smile, Snake Eyes 327. I changed my name back to Gamer Word 72. You remember my old names? MK2396E, Henthai X, Machina Gamma, Elite, Fire Hazard 105, Ras the Wolf, OK Toodles, Tech Gaming, Jungle Zone, Slim Jim, Collective, Stack of Bum, Joe Trapped Me in the Moat, hashtag BanJTechTV, Gay Local Adult with Autism, PC Gamer, Jessica Shepard, Ricky Power, Ricky Kadabi. I don't know about Gar's horse, but I'll be the Godfather. Crewman the Steel Angel. My profile picture has a clip in it. Big fucking corpos in their slop. Sergeant Jason Bond, Baron Von Voderham, Cyrus 6771, True Text 940. I snuck onto your PC and pre-ordered Battlefield 6 on your PC with your money. Creed Word 23 Max Chips, Simply the Chap, Totally Insane, Black Cobra, the Enwa Slayer, Night of Cypher, Mel04. I own 6 copies of Click 2006 on Blu-ray, Wolf of Midnight, Stig Rider, Pig Venus, Steve Win Studios, Film Kraken, Ohm Gaming, Tariq Brown, Thornsgate, Maganax, Severn Evans, Spinal 3, Kylie for Max, Pow Pow, Donnie Weston, Nick Donegan, Draws Max on Twitch, Coming Hang Y'all, Gob Godson, Rogue Winter 919, Bobby Hinner, Kenny Getting Fanny, Hangman for Hire, Elden the Noble, Frost Crystal, Biogenesis, Ian Action, Floppy Pinkus 97, Mega Keys, Scruffisco, Ghost Ho, Get in Doofus, we're gonna make fun of some Sony stands, Vascro, Raptor Tim, Mama Steph 94, Blue Hook, Filmic Tip, Mr. Techno Squeak, oh no, it's only live service games, Smitty Working Man Jensen, The Make Advertisement, Diego Garcia, JJ Dusty, Emmett Begins, I American Idiot, Harmon Smith, Other Chin, oh no, it's Justin, Rand Wood, 20 Wayne, Extreme the Wolf 7, Joey Scoop, Smelly, Wrestling Geek, Joe Taku, Retro, Wannabe Hoba, Jidge, West Ability 310 Char, Rob C, Veg, Groove Banana, Kurt and Alan Smack, Sal Hathan, Jet Ski, it's actually a joke ski. That was not a jet ski noise. That was a fucked up jet ski. Okay, toodles.